Network.
That's what I'm talking about.
You ain't never heard nothing like this. Let me work, show me where the mic is. I'm on stage, black shirt and my Timbs. You know how I do it, I ain't playing with you, I've been grinding. Anybody trying to sleep on me, better do something with your eyelids. I hear a lot of whining, but I don't hear a lot of rhyming. Whoa. Everybody got opinions, let it go into my ear, then I block that. Put me on stage, I'ma rock that. Saying you the best, stop that, phony, I am not.
What up, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network, Patrick Wheeler and Jason Elmquist and Levi Peckinpah's in the house on Friday. A lot going on today, boys. We got a lot of football coming up this weekend, even though there's no OSU football. But we should have plenty to keep all of us interested in college and in the NFL, high school tonight.
Speaking of which, just saw on Twitter a little comment, apparently kind of going back to some of the stuff, going back to the OAN t-shirt and all that stuff. Landon Wolf just tweeted out about 30 minutes ago, just a little message tagging both Coach Gundy and Coach Hargis. Big thank you to Coach Gundy for supporting his players and advocating for them both on and off the field. Today's meeting with President Hargis and the A&M Board of Regents was a great start to the conversation between student athletes and administrators about building structures and a culture of equality and inclusion in OSU athletics. So people have wanted to hear in public some of the changes, and I think it appears to be one of those starts to it. Hearing that from Landon Wolf, who again was one of the more vocal ones as well, not in the sense that he was threatening to boycott the season or anything, but he was one of the ones that wanted to get things changed at the university level. I remember even he was the one who wanted to include the female athletes, trying to make sure that they were getting equality within OSU athletics as well.
Well, at least they're having the conversation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's
where you got to start.
I think that's what they wanted to move forward with, and making sure that when that is put out there public, that's good for when we get ESPN coming into town on the weekends too, because I don't know about you guys, but they haven't blown it up during the broadcast, but we have seen so far they've been able to find a way to mention it. Remember that time during the offseason type of thing?
Well, so, they honestly in the opener they did when because I remember because again I was at the game, so I don't know what they showed video wise, but they had the audio up on the game, and it was when OSU was trailing against Tulsa, when Bullock was struggling to start off the third quarter. They actually kind of, because I remember tweeting out to add insult to injury, add salt to the wound of the struggles that the offense was having. They brought up that situation. So, but I don't recall them bringing it up in the other games. And then obviously it was touched on a little bit with that ESPN documentary as well.
Yeah, I think they were probably, I don't know if instructed is the right word, but maybe told let's focus on some football here, right? And not try to stir it up too much. But this is something that if that's brought up again, someone else can go, well, look what we just saw. They're actually talking about it now.
Yeah, because that's the important thing is if you're an outsider and you don't think that there's something going on, the athletes are the ones who are in the athletic department who are, if they're feeling this way, whether it's because of a shirt or other things, if you can't dismiss how somebody feels that they're being portrayed within an organization that they're in, and there was a large enough response from some, not just from Chuba, there were others who supported Chuba's comments, that I think that hearing that some of those athletes are getting the opportunity to talk to President Hargis and the Board of Regents. I think that's what impressed me more as well, is it wasn't just the head of the university, it was those who are also decision makers that openly said, hey, let's talk. Let's, what are some of the issues that you guys have? And that, to me, again, would be a sign of change, the fact that they are willing and wanting to talk to these athletes who maybe consider that their voices, one way or another, not being as equally approached as some others at Oklahoma State. Yeah,
it's good stuff, and then they are finding a way to advance the conversation, which is absolutely what needs to happen in these universities. Hey, football last night, oh my goodness, we're going to get to that game here in a minute. But how about these schedule changes going on too? How about these schedule changes? We're at the moment, we're going to have Tuesday night football. Now, that's if this Titans team can avoid any more positive tests, which today they tested.
I kind of predicted it yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
I said 3 to 4, and I said in my mind 4 would be best. 4 straight days of no positives, and then play Tuesday, and that's exactly what they're going with.
Yeah, I think they're going to hopefully be able to get into their facilities again this weekend, because it's been
Right,
I think
right.
this is 11 days since they haven't been able to get in there. That's crazy.
And then I'm assuming that that's the reason they put them as the Tuesday game, because we are now going to have two Monday games as well.
Yes,
as we found
we are.
out.
Yep.
The Patriots Broncos game has been moved to Monday, so obviously I'm assuming is that we don't want to try to pack 3 games in, overlapping so much on a Monday night. So let's have it be the team that is the worst infected get that extra day to figure out if there's any more positives before we let them play.
Yeah, so they're going to end up playing on at the moment Tuesday at 6:00. The 2 Monday games now.
Did it say the Tuesday game? What is it going to be on CBS as well?
I haven't seen the
I haven't heard TV.
details yet.
It looks like it's going to be on CBS.
It does? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Why does this have to
There
happen?
we go. There we go.
Tom was in here yesterday, so he might have.
He found a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. But yeah, from what it says on ESPN, it's supposed to be a CBS.
CBS.
Okay.
CBS has actually really benefited from this.
Right,
with
right.
the Chiefs, and now this,
Right.
it's given them that.
And
lone
again,
game.
it's not like they're playing favorites or whatever. Those
No,
were the games that were
exactly.
supposed to be played on those channels. They're
Yeah.
keeping them on those channels. So it could have been Fox if it was an NFC game that got pushed back. So
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the CBS is certainly the one who's been benefiting it because I'm assuming the Monday game would also be a CBS. The Broncos Patriots, because
yeah.
that doesn't involve any NFC
Yeah.
opponent. So
They're going to throw that one on. Does it have the TV?
It has it on ESPN.
on Monday.
Yep,
for the
ESPN.
4:00 game.
Yep, right
Really?
here on ESPN.com. It has it as an ESPN
Really?
game.
The
so
Patriots.
they'll play that game and then show the
Saints afterwards.
Yep.
So you've got
Wait,
the
did you say 4:00 game?
yeah,
4
it's 4
o'clock
o'clock kickoff. Yeah.
Really, Central Time.
Yeah.
Central Time.
Yeah, we're gonna be.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here on the show and have
Because
to.
it's in New England, right?
It's in New England.
Foxborough,
Okay,
baby.
so a 5:00 kickoff for them. Okay,
Yeah.
But how much would that suck though if you're a Broncos fan? Because that's essentially a 3:00 kickoff
Yeah,
for you.
Yeah. Well, then again, half the games on Sunday go at 3:25.
Right, but not on a Monday.
Yeah, not on a
not
Monday.
on a work day.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
everybody streaming this at work.
There's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
some people. Yeah,
During that work, I mean, there will be a lot of people coming home from school, so there's at least that. You'll get the school rush of people saying, "Oh, wait, we have NFL
Yeah.
football at 3:00, 4:00."
would you be afraid though of possible bad ratings though, or do you? I mean, if the ratings are good for a 3:00 Monday or a 4:00, 5 Eastern time TV ratings for that type of game, does that essentially emphasize that you almost need to have have 2 games on Monday for NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to matter when you throw an NFL game. I mean, even Thursdays are drawing enough viewers to stay
Right,
relevant.
right.
So.
The thing is, you also got to think about in the climate that we're in right now, ratings are going to be bad everywhere because we have everything going on right now, whether
Right.
it's election stuff,
Right.
we have baseball going on. We just got finished with hockey, so you were having to deal with ratings
Yeah.
there. The NBA Finals Game 5 is tonight.
And I think we also need to keep in mind that, and that's why, because I know there's been a debate on the ratings for NBA Finals, but all sports have been down. Even they mentioned the U.S. Open was even down like 45% from a year ago. I think some of it has to do pandemic related. Amount of people who have lost their jobs, they're having to cut frivolous things, if you will, and cable is probably right at the top. You're going to cut cable before you cut out meals and electricity and water and stuff like that. So that might be playing an impact as well. And that's what I've seen some people in the TV industry bringing up a good point of these metrics are kind of skewed because you have stuff like YouTube TV and obviously illegal streaming sites and all this other stuff. I don't know if those factor in. I know the Thursday night the Yahoo Sports app, you can watch the game on there.
Oh, yes.
If the Amazon Prime, you can view it. If those numbers are factored in, or is it just TV ratings that they're putting, and then it's skewed by the fact that some people may be utilizing these other venues to watch these sporting events as well.
With the NFL, I think it's interesting at a 4:00 game too, but with the Patriots, they're also hoping, I believe, that we're going to have Cam back,
Right.
hopefully. They're going to have the Patriots coming off the loss of the Chiefs, bringing in the Broncos. It's oh my gosh, can the Patriots, because this is a big game for them.
Yeah.
They're in a tough spot right now to stay relevant in their division. So it's going to be a lot of eyes on that. And then obviously the one afterwards, a lot of interest in the Chargers and Saints on Monday night. That should be a good matchup. So, but being able to spread these out, I think what it has done, and I know we've still had to deal with it so far, But Thursday night football a lot of times leaves a bad taste in people's mouths with some of the product that's on the field. Some of that is because of the quick turnaround that these teams usually have to make. And sorry, we just see that it's not the case, just like last night.
Yeah.
But when it comes to viewership, throwing one on a Tuesday because it's different. I mean, throwing 2 on a Monday, I think is a fantastic idea. The NFL might be onto something here permanently before it's all said and done.
And I'm assuming you're like me as a Chiefs fan. You hope the Tennessee game gets played.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they've already sources are saying that they and ESPN or NFL's mentioned it, that if they play that game Tuesday, the Bills Chiefs game will get pushed to later. And the interesting thing is the NFL says later in the weekend.
So
the NFL has
Sunday
not
or Saturday.
No, the actual release from NFL says later in the weekend.
Really? I thought I saw that it said Sunday, but I didn't see a time.
No, the official statement from NFL at the very end, it just says it'll be pushed later in the weekend. So it leaves open the possibility of a Saturday game.
Interesting.
Or Sunday.
What I would be intrigued to see is how those numbers would do up against college football.
Right.
And if they did it at prime time, which I'm sure they probably would, you put it up against this week Miami and Clemson, for instance, tomorrow night. That's interesting to look at right there.
Yeah, because I'm assuming the reason they haven't identified, because you probably want to look around the college landscape and figure out, okay, this is because if that's, I think technically Fox. I know Fox had it last night, so I'm assuming they get next week's game as well for the Chiefs Bills game.
Oh yeah.
That. If it would work into the Fox college football lineup, if there's, if it's all, if they just have their 11 a.m. kickoff and then everything else gets pushed to FS1, but then I think, does Fox have any of the MLB games yet as well?
I don't think so yet.
They don't have until the World Series?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just the World Series.
Because that would be another thing they'd have to factor in.
Yeah.
Is if Fox can even play, because they're going to have, because that's why we, when the World Series starts, people always complain about why are some of these college football games not on primetime Fox. It's because Fox has MLB that they have to play on Saturday.
Yeah, because right now the MLB games are on TBS.
Yeah.
Okay. So that wouldn't have to be something that they could wouldn't have to factor in.
But it is interesting to look at all these different times. We're going to possibly end up with a Tuesday night football game, which will feel strange, but I mean, I'm all here for it.
Like, knock on wood, as long as the
Titans, come on now.
Got to stay negative until then.
You guys were mentioning about a potential NFL game on Saturdays. I mean, that wouldn't be that bad, because looking at the schedule, at least for this Saturday, it would fit perfect if you do like the usual 7:25 your primetime slot. You somehow fit that in on Saturday, because when you look at a lot of these games, of course, you do have Clemson going up against the U. You have Alabama going up against Ole Miss. But once you get to 7:30, half of those games might be blowout games, so you may not be wanting to watch those. Then you have, you have an NFL game an hour after all these games are going on. That's like a perfect slot to fit in.
Do you feel like there should be a cutoff for the NFL on when they're deciding to if they're going to decide to move the Bills Chiefs on Thursday? Like if you, obviously over the weekend you come negative throughout Tennessee and you say, okay, we're going to go ahead and switch, even though Monday or Tuesday morning it gets canceled, because basically they've said that if it gets canceled, if Tuesday games get canceled, we're playing Thursday. But is that really fair to both the Bills and Chiefs if suddenly you're saying Tuesday morning, by the way, you might have been gearing up for a Saturday or Sunday game, we're now going back to Thursday?
It's really not, and everyone's looking back again at the Titans and saying thanks a lot for this situation, because
the amount of teams that have been impacted because of what they've done,
and that's why alarming. The preparation is, if you're Kansas City or you're the Bills right now, it's after we get this game this weekend, we're immediately focusing on Thursday, and make sure that's the idea. So, but it has to be able to change quickly.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's probably what the Chiefs' approach is going to be. Is because usually, and I don't know what a normal routine would be when you have a Sunday then a Thursday game, if you would just not have a day off. But I'm assuming you would set it up to expediting it to where you were going to have a Thursday, plan for having a Thursday game until the Tuesday game is actually played, and then institute a day off if need be then.
Well, the Chiefs' ideal situation is to be beating the Raiders so bad in the fourth quarter that even in that fourth quarter they can just start implementing some Bills stuff on the sideline. And Patty Mahomes is what you're going to do against Josh Allen. No, that's it's going to be a fun matchup this Sunday, no doubt.
Yeah, because I mean it's not a rivalry.
Yeah, right, exactly, not at all.
I find it funny that the Raiders players, it's not a rivalry, we can't win, and the Chiefs players like, yeah, it's still a rivalry.
Yeah. How good
we
was
enjoy
that?
beating you guys.
It's not a rivalry. I think it wasn't it a Derek Carr that said that.
Derek
it's not
Carr,
a rivalry because there's pretty one.
Yeah, because he admits, well, we got to win some.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's fair. And then today, Travis Kelce came out and says like, no, it's a rivalry.
It's a
We
rivalry.
enjoy beating the heck out of them.
Exactly. It's a rivalry to one team whenever you're getting the tar beat out of them.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look at last night a little bit. I mean, Tom Brady and the Bucks come in and just melt it down. I mean, completely all the way around. Now,
Is it the fourth down?
yeah, I mean, we're all about as looks like literate when it comes to downs here as Tom Brady, and that's the thing is the defense. I told Jason coming in has become one of the better defenses in the league early on. The offensive line last night. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses for Tom Brady all day, but the offensive line. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely terrible. Over 11 penalties for 100-plus yards, shooting themselves in the foot, and then to add a little whipped cream on the top, Tom Brady thinking it's an extra down.
Do you buy though after the game, both Brady and Arians saying, yeah, he knew it was fourth down.
What I thought,
Both of them saying it.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Do you buy that?
yeah, well,
No.
I don't buy it. Yeah, the thing with Bruce Arians, and I said this, I was thinking about this yesterday, was in a game with this was still Bill Belichick, he would have had Bill say, man, we thought he knew. Next question. Bruce Arians, we have seen, is not going to mince words at all here, at any time. We saw that in Week 1 when he pretty much called Tom Brady out and said, "Dude, you threw a couple bad passes, threw a bad pick here and there, whatever." This time it's, well, he knew, and I think honestly, that's Bruce saying to the media and the rest of us, like, I don't know what to tell you. I've got the most experienced quarterback out there, and he just did what a rookie probably wouldn't have even done in that situation. So
wouldn't Jameis Winston have been basically like fans would have mandated him cut from the team?
Oh, he would have had to
happened?
go underground.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the luxury of being Tom Brady is that all today and for the rest of this week it will be joked about, and Tom Brady is no good anymore and all this. But when we look at a year from now, a few weeks from now, even honestly, we're gonna remember this. I mean, it's Tom Brady. He'll be like, remember that one time that I didn't know the down? No, neither do we. Right? It's gonna be that situation here with him. So he lucks out here for me. But bottom line, as we can, I'm sure all agree, that's just inexcusable.
Yeah.
That's Didn't Brian Hoyer do that the other day? I mean, it was somebody that
Yeah. Well, he thought he had an extra
That's
timeout.
what it was, yeah.
Against the
At the
Chiefs.
end,
At the end of the first
It's
half,
just these-
he went to call for a
Yeah,
timeout,
that's right.
and they didn't have one.
these mistakes
Yep.
for quarterbacks in the NFL. But Tom Brady, right? That's
Right.
That's next level.
I can understand a little bit from Tom Brady, especially when you got Bruce Arians, who, again, I've said many times, a Cheesecake Factory menu size worth of a playbook. You're trying to go through about 1,000 plays of Bruce Arians in your head, and then you realize, I guess it's fourth down. Go for it. You mess up, like, wait, it's not fourth down? I can understand whenever you got a coach who, instead of simplifying the playbook, just is like, oh, you mean make it bigger again.
Yeah.
So when you got a system that's going 1,000 miles a minute, trying to figure everything out, trying to actually look like a relevant Tampa Bay team, would that be like the first time since the early 2000s that they're trying to look relevant?
Yeah.
Right.
And there's just a lot on Tom Brady's plate trying to figure everything out. Now that defense does look pretty good. You take a hit because defensive tackle Vita Vea has a broken ankle. So that defense loses another piece. That means Tom Brady has to step it up just a little bit more now.
With how they lost that game last night, Levi, are you starting to sell on this Buccaneers team as being we've had the conversation I think earlier this week or last week, Patrick and I, that it's going to be a playoff team just because the NFC's so weak. They have a pretty good chance of getting in. But do you even buy them anymore as a legitimate team that can make it to the NFC title game?
Yeah, I don't. with how this team is and what I should have set my sights at truly seeing that they're not a really great team. I mean, even in that division, you have the New Orleans Saints behind them, who, even with noodle arm Drew Brees, I still think is a better put together team because it's a team that just knows itself a little bit better.
Patrick, going back to that, not that specific question, but kind of back to the conversation we had earlier. Do you think this puts their playoffs in jeopardy because now they don't have a head-to-head against Chicago, who again now has a better record, and then you look at it. They don't have to worry about anybody coming out of the East of getting a wild card, but you have to think about 2 to 3 teams possibly in the West. You now have to legitimately think about the Bears and the Packers as playoff teams. Do you think that their playoff positioning is now in jeopardy from last night's performance?
There's one thing I'll say about it. I don't think the playoff standings is in. I think they'll make the playoffs because
There's that one extra this year.
there's the one extra team, and I do not believe anywhere in the Chicago Bears. I believe in the Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah.
No one will ever sell me on Nick Foles.
I'm right there with you, but you also have to look at the record and say, I mean, they only need 5 more wins to really be a playoff contending team.
Yes, but here's the thing. I also don't believe them going up against the Lions, the Giants, and the Falcons. Oh, you're telling me 1, 2, and 3 bad teams in the league. I don't believe it.
Here's the thing with the Bears. Last night was a classic Chicago Bears game, right? Defensive.
Yeah.
So we're going to beat the crap out of you from start to finish, which they did.
One-handedly throwing a 350-pound
Khalil
lineman.
Mack,
Yeah, that was insane.
he reminded us why he's Khalil Mack last night.
Love the dude.
And yeah, he's awesome. But the thing is, with Tom Brady, I still want to give him some leeway here because I want to see everybody healthy. Chris Godwin, we got to remember how big
We're not going to see everyone healthy, obviously.
I know.
But, yeah.
Chris Godwin, I mean, he plays such a big part in that offense for Tom Brady, right? We saw that in week 1, whenever he was healthy, whatever. He's been healthy like 1 or 2 weeks this season. He's been his go-to guy.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is not 100% either. Don't be fooled.
Right.
We saw last night he gutted through when they get Leonard Fournette back. Get all this offense that we knew coming in was going to be there, all these weapons. Gronk is starting to try to make a few more catches here and there.
Well, and you've lost one of your at least catchable targets at tight end as well now as well.
OJ's out, and Cameron Brate's going to have to step up. So when all that comes together, which it will at some point, the question is, will it be too far down the road? I think Tom Brady needs. I mean, that's why we all knew he went here, was because there were more weapons on this team. If Tom Brady's sitting there with the Patriots this year, the way he has played so far, we're talking about an even worse story.
So do you think maybe this is just short week, old man Brady? He just didn't have time, maybe just physically, to be ready for this game?
I think that's what we would have said and could have easily blamed it on had he not done what he did in the last play there.
But I mean, that could have been the brain.
If so,
all those hits to the head.
If so, then
especially from Khalil Mack,
then dude's got something going on that he needs to talk about, because that is just inexcusable. I'm sorry. That I'll cheer Tom Brady and I'm a fan of his, but that just cannot happen. So I think it's a stumble in the road here. But I'm with Levi. That is the worst 4-1 team I've seen in the NFL in a long time.
But here's the thing. I just looked at the schedule, and some of the teams they got to go up against, they still got to face Carolina at least one more time. You got Minnesota twice. You have Jacksonville again. You have the Houston Texans. You have another matchup with the Lions. I mean, I could easily see them taking those 6 wins right there.
Right. And because that's the thing, is the Bears were so bad last year that they got an easy schedule this year, kind of like the 49ers of last year.
Well, and that's what kind of shows me about what all they're missing from the Tampa offense right now, because there's no reason that the Bears should have beat them last night in any way. Now, defensively, they were good, but Nick Foles, oh my gosh. I mean, the dude didn't. The first half, he was non-existent. Second half was just barely enough. I mean, he was missing throws all over the place. So
at this point, though, we found out all he needs to do in the red zone is just throw it to Jimmy Graham.
Oh my gosh,
that was a heck of a catch.
He looked like classic Saints Jimmy Graham on that catch.
Looked like the glitch.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was pumped to see that from him. But Nick Foles, I mean, he's not much better than Mitch Trubisky at all. He's not better than Mitch Trubisky the way he's playing this year.
Yeah.
You're kind of dealer's choice throwing them out there. So that's why I think
Nick Foles is the Brady beater.
He is. He's found a way. He's Brady's kryptonite, right? Like, I mean, that is absolutely.
What is it about Eli Manning and Nick Foles being able to beat Tom Brady?
They just
those are Peyton barely could, but those two quarterbacks can.
They're probably meeting up every week talking about how it's going to happen again.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy, man. But that should not have happened for the Bucs last night. However, the Bears get that 1-point victory. When we come back, we'll start getting into our Week 5, believe it or not, Week 5 picks. Got some gambling stuff to get to later on. Give you some picks how to make some money this weekend, as well as some fantasy starts and sits. All still to come. The afternoon sports drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network.
You can call till your voice is running out, but I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. I'm somewhere far away where you can't bring me down, so I can't hear you now. I can't hear you.
And welcome back.
Yeah.
Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler and Jason Elmquist, Levi Peckinpah in the house. You know, a lot of Bears bettors had to be happy last night. Just a 1-point win. Got that cover there. Bucks were only a 3-point favorite. Ooh, man. Now, the under definitely hit, but they had to be happy on that one. And especially when they look up and Tom Brady's holding up a number 4 and there was no number 4 to be found. So good stuff there if you bet Chicago last night, as I'm not sure how many actually did, though. Let's look at some picks here this week. We're already in week 5. We all, by the way, got Thursday Night Football game wrong.
By the way, you guys never told me. Did you give me the courtesy of switching my Pats Chiefs game?
I'm sorry, we actually didn't. We couldn't come to a
Yeah, because you guys are scum, man.
The ballot did not.
I gotta worry about myself. Really?
we put the vote up, okay, and we said, and we did our picks on Friday. Saturday morning we come in and they're like, Cam's out.
Yep.
And Jason's like, okay, can I switch my pick? And I said on there, we're going to have to take a vote on it, and unfortunately, it fell the wrong way.
What'd you think was going to happen?
Oh, I know, Levi. This is the same man who also stole a tight end from somebody who was talking about picking him up.
Let's never
I'm not
forget that.
I'm not surprised
Never
you
forget
were
that.
unwilling.
I just want to say it was kind of funny.
You're from Oklahoma, aren't you? I thought you guys are all supposed to be gentlemen.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Just remember that.
It was a no-go, man.
And the only thing that I've been learned while I've been in here in Oklahoma is make sure you end up at the top of the Big 12, unlike Kansas teams. That's the only thing I've
True,
learned.
that's good. Jason, but I will tell you, during that game, I'm sitting there at halftime, and it's 7-6 or whatever it was there. And I'm like, I wasn't really scared, but I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
It's going to happen right now? Yeah, it was one of those things.
Well, and I've realized, it dawned on me as well, all these people saying, oh, if Cam would have played, they would have won. It's like, okay, well, then by that same argument, if Chris Jones would have played, that also could have been different, made a difference. Come on.
And as I said, I don't think they would have won. It would have been way more competitive.
It would have been more enjoyable to watch, certainly.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
That was just brutal for anybody watching the Pats. Brian Hoyer, oh my gosh.
At least the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter was kind of entertaining.
And Jerson at least was alive back there, but holy cow, that was terrible. Jags Texans. We got a thriller here to kick off on Sunday in Houston. Wow, no more Bill O'Brien though, so I guess that's a plus.
And apparently that Vegas likes the fact that Bill O'Brien's not there. And I'm not saying because of the spread. The over/under started the week at 47. It's now jumped up to 55. They are expecting one more touchdown scored now because Bill O'Brien is no longer the head coach.
So it's Deshaun Watson going, I'm going to go crazy.
I'm not going to get held back
Wow.
now. Yeah.
You know what? And that could be the case. I don't know, but if they come out and they just stink again, then we're going to be like, well, maybe it wasn't Bill O'Brien, even though we all know it was. And I'm sure you guys saw the J.J. Watt stuff this week too, right?
We knew it wasn't Jason Garrett in Dallas, but we knew it was Bill O'Brien in Houston.
Oh, we did.
We knew.
Yes, we
Sorry,
did.
Levi.
Yeah. Levi's he's hurting over there. He just got flashbacks. Yeah.
I've had just a lot of flashbacks within the past 5 minutes of whether it's been my NFL picks or just bad things.
PTSD. I remember that.
How bad is it? Real quick, you have to look at it and see Jason Garrett doing nothing for the Giants offense. You're like, yeah, we're scoring points, but we're still losing. How is so technically you're just like when Jason Garrett was here. I mean, you were still putting up some points here and there, but you were still losing.
It's just flip from the other side of the ball, right?
Yeah, just the only quote I can say for it. It is what it is at this point.
Now the defense is just like, we'll try.
Yeah, and by try they mean no, we're not going to try.
Exactly, barely show up.
Yeah.
So and then J.J. Watt this week, he posts that picture on Twitter of the stadium in Houston, and it's got the sun shining in, and you can interpret it how you will. I interpreted it as a new day.
Well, especially when you find out that apparently him and Bill O'Brien went to blows.
Which J.J. Watt, we know he's not the guy that's going to fight anybody, right?
Well,
verbally
I saw some people, it was some Houston TV reporters saying that J.J. Watt could literally run for mayor right now and win.
That's so I could see it, honestly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
but we heard about him basically calling Bill O'Brien out for being a terrible coach, and they got into it. Yeah, he's absolutely correct.
It's just like Jamal Adams in New York. I mean,
he was right. He was on the right. Yeah. Jags Texans, who we like here, your homeboys. Texans,
5.5 for Houston right now.
5.5 for Houston.
Yep.
I'm wondering if those 5 points fill in for the terrible offensive line they have. Here's the thing: both teams are bad. I called this last night on my show the toilet bowl. This is the game out of all of them. And there's a lot of games on here I don't want to watch. This is the game that I don't want to watch the most. I'm going to take Jacksonville in here. And here's the thing: I'm not confident if I picked Houston or if I picked Jacksonville. I'm going to take it on the sole fact that I really like some of those defensive players they have down there in Jacksonville. I love Josh Josh Allen, Taven Bryant. I think they're going to get a lot of pressure on Deshaun Watson, and he's just going to have another bad day. And Minshew Mania, it'll be okay, but it's mainly going to be the James Robinson show.
I have to agree. I think James Robinson runs all over this defense. The Texans,
As everyone has
yeah,
for this year.
and that's a sign too. Which I love J.J. Watt, but we got to be honest. He's aging and he's not healthy all the time.
Yeah.
So
I'm caught up.
It's not what Houston's front used to be anymore. So I like the Jags too. 5.5. Yeah, I think they can cover. It's something that is going to be a close game.
Well, if you have Jags and Wigan, then they would definitely cover.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you were to pick the Texans, I could see them not covering still.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the total. You said 50. What did you say it was up to?
54.5.
Yeah, it's up to 54.5. Originally it was 47.
I'm gonna hit that under.
I don't even know if I like him at 40.
Yeah, I don't see a ton of scoring either. But the Jags they're just good enough.
That's the tough thing because and I've said it throughout the season. You have two wide receivers in the Texans who are really good, but you don't know if they're going to play more than one play.
Yeah.
Because they're so injury prone,
yeah,
and Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks.
And we've seen so many times this year too. Will Fuller. I mean, look at it last play of the game last week against Minnesota. He's right there. I mean, and he's good, really good when he's healthy. Yeah. But he's still not your elite number one like they used to have, obviously, with D-Hop. So they're going to struggle here. I'm with you, Levi. I like the Jags on the road.
I'm buying the new day.
Oh, yeah, it's a new day.
And not for the defense. I think Deshaun, because it's largely because of what you told me, he smiled after they lost.
He did.
Because he knew that this might be the beginning of the end for Bill O'Brien.
I don't know if you guys saw that video, but
I haven't yet.
Literally, the last play, they're checking to see if Will Fuller caught the touchdown or not. He did not. It hit the ground, and they immediately show Deshaun Watson's reaction. You would think after they end up losing, he's like, dang it.
Because I think he's going to go out there and show, hey, franchise, ownership, fans, this is why I wanted to sign an extension. It wasn't because of that terrible GM that we now got rid of. I'm going to go out and ball.
Yeah.
Even with wide receivers who may or may not play the entire game. I think he's going to go off, and that's why I think the numbers for the over-under went up, is they think that he's going to go out and ball as well. So I'm going to take the Texans in this one. I don't know if I'd take them to cover, but I definitely have them winning.
Okay.
It's a new day. 0-5. Yes, it is.
It's a new day to be 0-5.
Yeah. How's Jacksonville? What's their record?
1-3.
Yeah, exactly. Not that much better.
They got that dub.
Hey, it's one win though.
Just ask the Philadelphia Eagles. Just one win suddenly catapults you from dead last to first in your division.
Why you gotta poke me like that? Why you gotta do that?
If you want to bring up records, we'll bring up records.
I can't do anything. You guys are 4-0,
as we should be. Right?
Like what can I say?
Yeah. But the Cowboys really shouldn't. The Cowboys should be 0-4, Levi.
Let's be honest,
that. If the Falcons had any idea how to cover an onside
the
kick,
door's out there. I can walk that way.
Wait, I think we had. Doesn't he tell us this once every Friday when we start picking on him with the Cowboys? Yeah. All right, we'll get to him in a minute. Okay, then you can get your revenge. But first,
then you can pick them to lose again, like you did last week.
That's right.
I mean, maybe.
How about Joey Burrow heading in to face what could be his toughest test so far with the Ravens in Baltimore?
13-point favorites.
Yeah, that's probably the highest of the week, I'm assuming, if not really close. And the Bengals, look, that's the thing with Joe Burrow. He's consistently over 300 yards. I mean, he's looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
He still has to tighten up a few things, but with the offense he's been given, not terrible.
It is barely the biggest spread of the week. The biggest they are first, but right behind them is KC and the Raiders.
Wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's 12. It's up to 12 now.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been loving what Joe Burrow's been doing with the Bengals. This has been a fun squad to watch, even though we all have our expectations. They're not going to make the playoffs, but we know that it's a team with a lot of young pieces. Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow. Really nice grouping all together. You still have some guys on the wide receiver group. AJ Green still trying to figure it out, and he's just trying to collect that last check in Cincinnati, then go somewhere else. For the Bengals, they also have a decent defensive line. Whenever Geno Atkins is going to be full 100% Geno Atkins, that'll be really nice. And then you also have some other nice pieces on that side. But it's the Baltimore
exactly.
Ravens.
I don't know if decent and nice are things that you want on your defense to go against Lamar Jackson.
It's like you're looking at two different paintings. This is like a portrait, like a kindergarten made. Like, oh, that's cute. That's really nice. Picasso.
Yeah, exactly.
And what we saw last week was Lamar kind of get it going on the ground finally, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he showed what we saw in MVP
He
season
showed that
last
he
year.
can beat teams not named Kansas City or in the playoffs.
And on the ground, which we still have plenty of questions. He made some throws too, but it's like, well,
Yeah.
you know me over here, until he starts consistently getting to do that for a season, I'll be buying it.
I want to see him get down by 10 and actually win a game.
Yeah, be able to come from behind, win a
Yeah.
playoff game, all that stuff. But this should be easy.
Obviously, you got Baltimore, Levi, but do you have them covering 13?
Ooh, yeah, I got him covering by 13. Their cornerbacks, I'll go with that, aren't the best. You do have William Jackson over there, who he's okay, but he hasn't reached his potential. I think Hollywood Brown is going to have a big day.
I am covering too. I think that again love what Joe Burrow's doing, and Joe Mixon is playing like he just got paid, which is great. But this is a game that could spiral out of control.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
yeah, I agree.
Real quick.
And again, I think the fact of the matter is they're going to shut down Joe Mixon. You know, that's what that defense does. And I think they might. I mean, that's a defense that I might consider using in fantasy football, daily fantasy, because I think because of how much they like to do zone and blitz, especially blitzing. I think is going to cause chaos for Joe Burrow. So you might see a lot of quick errant passes that get picked off. And then obviously a lot of sacks as well, because that offensive line is still pretty horrendous in front of him.
Oh yeah.
So
the Ravens.
I'll take Baltimore to cover as well. Do you think they combine though for 51?
Yes, because Baltimore was going to put up at least 35 of those.
And like I was saying, this might be the opportunity because Geno Atkins is going to be making his season debut against Baltimore. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, but it's nice to see a guy who's that elite finally back healthy.
This could be the week we see if Joe Burrow does even have a pretty decent perforance. You know,
Right,
say 300 yards again.
Yeah, this is a top 3 defense.
Yeah, then we're going to get more people to buy in and be like, okay, Joe Burrow is legit. And we should know that by now, that he has a good future in the NFL if they can build around him. This one's kind of interesting. I'm expecting quite a few points here, too, in this total. Panthers-Falcons. It's in Atlanta. Now, has the Panthers defense overachieved with Matt Rule? Absolutely. I mean, they really have.
If I remember last night, this game, the line, if I remember right, it was either set of the Falcons by 2 or by 2.5.
Open at 3.5. Yeah, it's down to 1 now.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's right now on ESPN. It's set at even.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Okay.
And then 1 point, they'll probably bump it to 1. That's wow. I think that's about right. I mean, it's tough to pick a winner in this one because, like I said, the Panthers' defense has been better than we expected. They came in this year and we were like, they're going to get scored on all over the place. But they've done a decent enough job. I think Teddy Bridgewater has exceeded some of our expectations.
And honestly,
too.
I think Davis has also exceeded
He
expectations
has
filling in for McCaffrey.
That's a huge role to fill, and he's done a great job.
Yeah, because
He really has.
everyone thought, the numbers, the opportunity for numbers will be there for Davis with what you're losing with McCaffrey. But I don't think people thought he was going to be a guy in fantasy football that you say, I can play him every week.
Yeah, and he's borderline RB1 at this point.
Yeah.
I think that,
and especially against this Atlanta defense.
Oh yeah. And the receivers too this week, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, who I give a ton of credit, by the way, to Matt Rule for getting Robbie Anderson and finally realizing that he doesn't have to just be a deep threat.
Yeah.
If you watch any of their games, he is consistently running lateral routes. He's going slants. He's open the middle of the field. And what does he do afterwards? He's fantastic with yards after contact.
Yeah.
They're using him the right way.
Just don't ask him to identify the difference between a panther and a bear.
That's right. And don't play Sweet Caroline after the game because he doesn't know what that is.
That was embarrassing.
That was
That was
good stuff.
Man, Robbie Anderson has been such a meme this
He
year.
really has, yeah. But he's done a great job. I think he's honestly, it was DJ Moore coming in as number one, but he's borderline.
To me, that was the biggest mistake from the Jets this offseason, is letting him go.
They had a really good weapon in him, and again, didn't know how to use him.
Yep.
Didn't know how to use him. So I'm going to go, though, but with saying all that, I think the Falcons finally get their first win. I know their defense is terrible, but look, Matt Ryan, you know that I feel terrible for this dude.
Yeah.
He's played his tail off again, week in and week out. With a banged-up wide receiver last week against the Packers, we knew that was going to be a tough game. I don't think Julio is trending in the right direction right now. We did see it was weird. Calvin Ridley got shut down last week, and he was playing. So, but he's going to have a good week this week.
Well, and Ridley last week was also dealing with injury as well, an ankle injury as well, and that's why I'm actually going to take Carolina.
Okay,
largely because of the injuries on that wide receiver core for Atlanta. It's a case of like they've got three great wide receivers in Julio, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage, but they can't stay healthy. And so that's, if you're hobbled, especially as a fast wide receiver as Calvin Ridley is, if you're slowed by an ankle injury, that makes it easy for cornerbacks and safeties to keep up with you, know that you're not maybe able to cut and take those crisp routes that you usually do. So for me right now, until you get those guys healthy, I just find it hard to believe that they're going to be able to beat a lot of teams, especially again with how bad their defense is.
And the bad part about it, which I hate for the Falcons, because I loved Todd Gurley when he was with the Rams, bringing a tear to my eye watching him become old in running back years, and he's really showing that it's caught up to him, unfortunately.
The tread's definitely falling apart.
Yeah. Leo, who you got?
Oh, I'm taking Carolina, especially with how somehow without Luke Kuechly, they've still been able to make an okay defense.
Yeah, how about that?
I've seen Shaq Thompson step up in some spots. Dante Jackson is a corner on the rise over there in Carolina, and with a lot of injury problems over there in ATL, give me Carolina. Give me Teddy Bridgewater to connect with Robbie Anderson a couple times for a good day.
Do you think that with no Luke Kuechly, Cam Newton, again,
basically no Christian McCaffrey.
No Kyle Allen, who was your starting quarterback all of last year.
You're 2-2.
Yeah.
And a new coach.
Yeah. That division.
And that you are winning right now with the Panthers. I mean, I'm fine with that. When we come back, we'll get into the rest of our picks. We got some. Obviously, we have like a game every day basically this week to get to. We'll pick through that. Get you some gambling advice. And who are you going to play in fantasy this week? Also to come on the afternoon sports drive. Stay with us.
Feel like I'm gonna puke, cause my taxes are due. Do my best, we'll begin with a 1 or a 2. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow.
Metronome.
Man, I'm up to something. Woody-la-di-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like the show, cause it's on a budget.
Welcome back, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. We're rounding out hour number 1 with our NFL Week 5 picks, as we have a lot going on this weekend to get to with that and college football, NFL, all kinds of good stuff coming up tomorrow into Sunday. And before we do that, first caller, let's go to the phone line. You're on the Afternoon Sports Drive. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to keep this really short because I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say, but just voicing my opinion about, just personally to me, it seemed like an odd number, and it's not a big spread, but it was just after what Cleveland did when they went down to Dallas, and I know sometimes a team can be feeling too good about themselves, and maybe that's Vegas' deal, but now they're at home against an Indianapolis team that, yes, their defense has looked great, but I think it was in the first game of the season they played the Jags, and and Jacksonville actually moved the ball pretty well on them. And now Cleveland's at home after getting things clicking, and I thought it was odd that the number came out as a road favorite for Indy, and that's just my opinion. And I'm not trying to change the order in which you guys do your games. To me, that was the oddest number of the week when you look at it after the last few weeks. But anyhow,
honestly,
I just wanted to make that comment, and I wanted to see what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I honestly, to me, I think part of the problem is the inconsistencies over the years with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I think they are looking at the quarterback play and saying, you know what, we feel better with the veteran Phillip Rivers and a great Jonathan Taylor running the ball. I'm also curious if how much of Nick Chubb being out impacts. I don't think it will as much as people realize, because Kareem Hunt's proven that he's a capable running back. But I wonder if there's uncertainty there because the last time that Kareem Hunt had to play an entire game was when he was with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some uncertainty of can he hold up for an entire game as RB1.
Well, here's the thing. Even if he can't do it, you still also have a guy behind him like Ernest Johnson that can also take some carries, because that's what he did
last week
against Dallas.
Yeah.
That's what he did. You have enough.
But everyone does that against Dallas.
I was setting myself up for it. What
Exactly.
What did I expect?
Just toss me that softball.
I did the Jamal Crawford between the legs dunk.
If you didn't notice, I threw my bat about 500 feet in the air after that hit that home run.
Wilson Contreras that bad.
Goodness. But in all honesty, for this game, I love Cleveland in this. It's the main reason right now, at least on ESPN, it's set at even. The over-under is set at 48, is because no one believes in the Cleveland Browns, and they have all the right to do that, because everybody's been trying to believe in them for the past couple of years, especially since you finally got Baker Mayfield to come in and bring them out of one of the worst ruts in NFL history. And now that you're seeing this with Kevin Stefanski, they're 3-1 going up against a Colts team that's also trying to prove themselves at 3-1. It's two teams that truly I can't believe in either one of them unless they go up against competent competition.
I think this is some of the other danger, though, is this is a home game.
Oh, yeah.
If it starts raining, Baker Mayfield may have to go put stuff on the backs of the furniture in the stadium.
Yeah,
so
he's got plenty of commercials still there. What we're looking at, too, with the Browns, last week we finally saw the Browns go, oh, yeah, OBJ does still exist, and they used him. And then you saw Kevin Stefanski after the game go, you know what, I finally realized, he basically said, why not get OBJ involved more early in games? It's like,
well,
what?
We found out that Cleveland has actually two quarterbacks. They just need to utilize the better one a little bit more.
Jarvis Landry throws better than Baker Mayfield half the time, but yeah, getting OBJ involved early on, and they did that the week before or whenever they were playing Thursday night, maybe 2 weeks with Cincinnati. They got him more involved, right? They were throwing deep to him, but this time it was, we're throwing to him. At the end of the game, we're going to hand it off to him and let him get around the whole defense. So, but Kevin Stefanski saying that, I remember when he said that, it kind of stuck with me. He's like, we're going to start using him early because while we all love to hate on OBJ, which, I mean, honestly, he's deserved it a lot of times, the talent is still there. But on this team, they have not utilized him enough when they put that weapon in with Baker Mayfield, who is just okay enough to make plays with this receiver of that talent. That's why they're all of a sudden realizing if they stick consistent with that. But it's like you said, coming into it, everyone's like, well, they're still the Browns. And we know that at some point they're going to find a way to tumble here. The Colts, I'm with you, though, on what you've been saying all year. It's Phillip Rivers, man, and he just looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He just looks really uncomfortable.
They've got fortunate with some of the matchups. Jonathan Taylor has been well, but I think at the same time, because he is really the only option at running back, eventually, and I'm not saying this week, but eventually he's gonna wear down because he hasn't, while he did great at the college level, we see at the NFL level, if you take enough beating as a running back, you don't have the stamina as you did, for more games than you play in college. I think by the end of the season, I'm not saying injury, but you may see his numbers, dip way down in average carries because he's just realizing how tough the NFL is against that body.
Well, think about it. This is why a lot of people advocate for preseason games, because trying to get these reps in, you're able to get that in against a lot of these preseason teams just trying to figure it out. That would have been a perfect time to have Jonathan Taylor take his necessary reps, get him in, and let him be able to figure out what in the world he can actually do at the NFL level, because he just got thrown in and was like, oh, here you go, try to figure it out. So now with everything going, Jonathan Taylor is finding out the rough way how to be a back in the NFL.
Well, and the Colts, when I talk about the Bears being the worst 4-1, the Colts might be really close to me being the worst 3-1. They're also benefiting from the division. I mean, they really are at this point. And who knows? I mean, if the Titans hopefully get back and play at some point, then they're trying to go with that too. Yeah. But I think it's just they came in with Phillip Rivers and they're like, he's going to save us. He's going to be the guy that's better than Jacoby Brissett because that was a mess up and we didn't really do well enough with. Like, no, it's just not going to work.
Why I'm reluctant to almost never to ever pick the Colts each week is because in reality you kind of base it off of fantasy numbers. While fantasy isn't reality, there's some instances where that teams can win without good fantasy numbers. But you look at Indianapolis, and the only offensive weapon that you want to ever touch in fantasy is just Jonathan Taylor.
It really is.
And in a NFL where it's passing is the focus, I mean, NFL is essentially the Big 12. Mm-hmm. You have to have good quarterback play, good wide receivers, and Indianapolis doesn't have that. No. They have a great running back, but I don't know if that's sustainable throughout the entire season.
T.Y. Hilton was good at one time, but
when healthy,
ever since Andrew Luck has been gone, it's been a real tough time.
Well, and they haven't been able to get a healthy, consistent tight ends as well.
Mo Alley Cox is trying his hardest, but he's not going to be your high volume tight end. So since we're on that, let's give our picks officially here to round out the hour with Browns and Colts. Who we got?
I'm taking the Cleveland Browns. I think that the running attack that Kevin Stefanski's put together I think that's utilizing all your talent in the best possible way. Again, 300 yards against the Cowboys, 300-plus yards. I mean, I think the system that he's got going, I think it'll work pretty well. And I want to see how he's going to be able to do it against a lot better opponent in the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to go with the Browns as well. And honestly, one of my fantasy picks is coming from that game as well.
It's a sweep. I mean, I'm with Cleveland too. I think Kareem Hunt has a chance here to show, remember who I am, right? It's going to be one of those games for him, so it'll be fun. I'm a fan of his still. I hope he does well.
Right. If Cleveland loses, get ready for the backtrack, though.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely. That's absolutely what's going to come. When we come back in hour number 2, get into the rest of our picks. Throw you some fantasy starts and sits, get some gambling picks, and we'll give Jason's got an announcement later on coming in the show we'll get to as well. Also to come in the afternoon sports drive. Stay with us.
It ain't too long time with no peace of mind. I'm ready for the times to get better. I've got to tell you, I've been racking my brain, hoping to find a way out. I've had enough of this continual rain. Changes are coming, no doubt. It's been a too long time with no peace of mind.
Welcome back, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Hour number 2, Patrick Wheeler and Jason Elmquist, Levi Peckinpah. As we run through our Week 5 NFL picks, we kind of threw an extra one in there with the Browns early on to answer that caller's question. With the line is still even at the moment, so yeah, that'll be a tight one. How about the Raiders and the Chiefs? We continue to get word so far that everything's good to go testing wise.
Mm-hmm.
We know there was a lot of people that were holding their breath after Stephon Gilmore hugged Patrick Mahomes and then tested positive. Plenty of people were worried about that, but so far so good. They play at noon on Sunday in Kansas City. And as we saw this week, Derek Carr saying, well, they talked about it being a rivalry. He said it's not really a rivalry.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, the Raiders actually just officially announced their injury report. Henry Ruggs and tackle Trent Brown are considered questionable for that game.
They got to get Henry Ruggs back. It has to be this week. I mean, they missed him. I mean, it's crazy to say with the rookie, but they really did. I mean, Derek Carr, he can only throw to Darren Waller, as you know so much. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, just do it all the time.
You're
just
fine
for
with
my
it.
sake.
You're fine with it. Darren Waller, I think, is ready to go this week, too. Still a little banged up, but should be good. Josh Jacobs is good to go.
He just got upgraded to healthy.
They're all good.
Yeah.
And
again, Chris Jones for the Chiefs defensive line is good to go.
He's back.
The only one, it was Dana. Dana will not on the defensive line. Dana Michael or something. I can't remember. He's officially out for the Chiefs.
Last week we saw what happens when Chris Jones is out. Frank Clark really took over. I mean, and I know that it was Brian Hoyer quarterback, but he made some big time plays, and he did last year in the Super Bowl all the way through that season too. So he's been a great addition.
Mike Dana.
Okay, yeah.
He is officially listed as out. But we also have to keep in mind, Chiefs get Rashad Breeland back this week as well.
Yeah, he's officially done with his 4-game suspension.
He's been practicing all week.
He's gonna, and they said they're gonna ease him in, but he's gonna play big time.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a big time of this.
Well, yeah, especially when Snead's still out with that collarbone injury.
Right.
You have Ward obviously has the club hand. Would have made an interception, I think, last week if he would have actually had two hands to try to catch that one that he broke up.
Right.
But that's going to be huge because that's been one of the biggest struggles, but it hasn't been bad. Mm-hmm. But just the lack of depth in that cornerback position for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's why I was talking about after with the Patriots. They've really done about as good a job as anybody with their secondary has been, because we saw. It wasn't just the defense in 2018 that let them down. It was the secondary, too, that was so bad. Anyone could pass on him. We knew when Tom Brady got the ball, he was going to go downfield, and he did. So, but this is a completely different secondary. They're all playing out of their mind right now, and Tyrann Mathieu is a big part of that, obviously, too. So I think Derek Carr gets picked twice in this game, I'm going to say, en route to a loss with the Chiefs. You said 12-point favorite right now?
12-point favorite. The craziest thing also, over-under started the week at 43 and is now at 55.5.
I'm giving the Raiders, they might be giving the Chiefs 40 points. I mean, it's I honestly, but it could be that way. With the Raiders, we've seen flashes. I mean, the Saints, the Patriots. So I'm going to go with it being kind of on an iffy scale. Like, you wouldn't say a blowout like usual, but if you call it over 12 a blowout, then I'm going to be saying it is.
2 touchdowns.
I think they cover in this one. They were 11-point favorites, I think, was it last week or a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, at some point, and they easily covered.
It would have been a few weeks ago because
I
it was Patriots, and then unless after Cam went down, I think maybe that's what it was.
It was last week against the Patriots. They moved up to 11-point favorites and obviously covered.
Yeah.
I don't see them having a problem.
2 weeks ago it was Baltimore, and they were not the favorites.
Exactly. No, they should be 5-0 here.
Yeah, and I'll take them to cover as well. I think they can win by two scores. Again, at home with actual crowd noise. And apparently one of those fans will actually be a Raider fan because we found out apparently today that John Gruden's son is a KU student.
Oh, really?
And will be in attendance supporting the Raiders. And apparently John Gruden made the comment, I still don't know why my son's at KU, just as a student. And I made the joke, was like, clearly it's because basketball is his favorite sport.
Yeah, it has to be it. We know it's not football. Yeah. All right, Levi, who we got?
Kansas City by 1 million.
Oh, he wasn't even thinking about. He's like, maybe I could shake something up here with the Raiders this year. Nah. Okay. When we come, we're staying here. Levi's popping out for a second. We're staying here. Who else we got? Cardinals, Jets. Now, this one we saw today that the Jets had to stop practice and shut down things because there was one presumptive positive test.
Right. They're still waiting to get confirmation on it.
Yeah, we're waiting today, right, to see confirmation. I think is what they said. We'd have information by this time Friday night or something like that in the afternoon. So I haven't seen any further confirmation. We'll have Jason check it to make sure. But
I'm assuming not, because I think it was today that because Bleacher Report this morning said that all Jets and players and coaches have been sent home after one of them tested positive.
Yeah,
so
they wanted to double check and make sure.
Probably won't get confirmation until tomorrow.
Right. They wanted to make sure it wasn't a false. So that's going to be the case.
Right.
And if it is for sure positive, obviously they'll have to check everybody else. But if it's one, that's for sure doable. So we'll go with it like they're still going to play here. Cardinals against the Jets, it really shouldn't be. I thought
Arizona's 7-point favorite, which to me, although Arizona has struggled the last few weeks, so I understand why you don't put it in double digits. But yeah, I think Arizona by 10 at least.
Oh yeah, it's a bounce back game for them. Like you said, they dropped 2 in a row, and Kyler Murray has kind of been humbled in the passing department a little bit.
Speaking of Murray, I don't know if it's part of your fantasy football, but because of who the opponent is, even though he's struggled the last few weeks, is he a guaranteed lock for you?
Yes, he actually is my starting quarterback in fantasy too.
Oh, okay.
But for everyone else too, yes. Anyone against the Jets, in the past we could look at their defense at times and be like, I got some players here and there that could stop the pass at times.
Yeah. You don't have Jamal Adams.
No,
at all.
And he was the last piece. And Kyler Murray is. Even we saw last week when he's not throwing the ball well.
Yeah, he's a dual threat. The running capability is what adds to his value.
And I think he threw 2 touchdowns, or maybe 3 even, but there's not a lot of yards. I think he was at least under 200 yards. And that's the thing is, like you said, he's so good on the ground. The Jets, we know they can't stop that.
Right. His floor is so high because of that running capability for Murray. Again, I'm as Levi steps back in. Arizona 7-point favorite. I'm assuming you're taking them to cover that and get the win over the Jets.
The Jets may not even win a game this season.
As I said to Jason, it was their best shot on Thursday against the Broncos, and they botched it. They don't get to play the Giants this year, do they?
No,
they have their best chance is the Dolphins, and that's not even that great.
Fitzmagic will find a way to win that one.
They actually play the Dolphins 2 times in a row, but they get the week
bye
off.
Week. I remember that. Honestly, although by then Tua may be playing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because we're hearing the rumblings already.
Yeah, we have.
They've already had to fend off that conversation this week.
The Fitz magic it's like we've heard this before. It's starting to fade a little bit.
Which it's not like Ryan Fitzpatrick is going in here knowing that that's not going to happen. He knows it's going to happen.
He was just enjoying his time.
But he also knows that he's going to start for 5-6 games. They'll put 2 in, 2 will struggle, then they'll go back to him just like they always do.
It's just like the theory we tossed around that he'll stay around the league till he's 50 because there'll be another team that brings in a young quarterback.
Yep.
Maybe it's the Jets that get Trevor Lawrence next year, and he comes and grooms him in. That's going to be that case for Fitzmagic the rest of the way.
He's already played for the Jets. He's got to go play for someone else.
Oh, that's true.
now.
We need a new franchise. Yeah, we'll find somebody else.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he can come be the backup for Dak Prescott if they give him a long-term deal.
The Red Rifle's
He'd
there.
start for them.
Don't talk about the Red Rifle like that. Don't forget about him. He's waiting for Dak to slip up.
Andy Dalton came in and threw some good passes.
Levi won't even respond to it.
Next game.
Next.
I mean, okay. How many more games has Dak won than Andy Dalton this year in Dallas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just one. Okay,
Yeah, one.
moving on. I gotta get my punches in, man. Gotta get them in.
It's like, why do you do this to me?
It's because we love you.
Because it's fun.
Okay? Yeah. All right. let's go to the phone lines.
It's just like with Tom.
It is,
So-
yeah, we're just poking, the bear. Caller, you're on the afternoon sports drive. Go ahead.
Hey, a couple of things, guys. You guys like to play the percentages, I think, on this station. So I got a couple of them. What percentage right now, Friday, October 9th, do you think the Oklahoma State Baylor game will actually happen in 8 days?
Percentage, and I actually tweeted out last night, I think it's 50-50 right now. Part of my concern is the fact that Baylor does not have a great track record right now in this pandemic of actually getting games played. Mm-hmm. So that I'm saying 50% right now.
With them already missing 2 games this season, I will also go 50-50.
I think the reason I'm going 50-50 is because now we're holding our breath for both teams because Oklahoma State gets their bye week. So we got to hope that there's not a ton of positives coming out of this situation. So that's why we're...
Plus, with everything with the Big Ten getting ready to start up, and with their dates being a little bit later down the line, the Big 12 might say, well, since we've got a couple games to reschedule, we'll put it closer to some of those Big Ten dates as well to make it a big college football Saturday.
All right. And the other one is you guys may have already said it. I don't know. I just started listening. So I don't know if you did any college games, but there's a lot of consternation in Seniorland about the way Oklahoma's playing. And my thought on the game is whoever you talk to in the preseason, that's probably, to me, you should stick with that pick because there's a lot of saying, well, Oklahoma can stop anybody. They're playing multiple. But Texas, is just like Dallas. They don't business they did it. Love it. And Dallas had no business winning that game. They just came back and won. So if you thought Oklahoma was the better team before the season started, but to me, I think this week. You thought Texas was, then that's who you pick. That's my take on it.
Yeah, thanks for the phone call.
So
it was
Texas OU.
Yeah, Texas OU.
Yeah, I mean, are you sticking with OU since you had them as a favorite going into the season? Just kind of
and we as we picked yesterday. Texas is my team coming into this week. I think that it again goes all down to Sam Ehlinger being there before.
Right.
I like Spencer Rattler. I think he's got a good future.
Yeah.
But his decision making at times, and I know he's had to bail the team out because the defense is non-existent. But it's too much for him at this point.
And I mentioned yesterday that I am sticking with OU right now, largely because the last few years the underdog in this game has won, and the fact of the matter is for OU now this is their national championship game.
It really is.
I mean, it is. I mean, they don't have any chance of ever making it to college football playoffs this year unless chaos ensues and we have the first ever two-loss team make it to the Final Four. So this is their big game. So I've got them, but it is going to be one of those games where you're going to be seeing these two teams putting up 40 easily because both defenses are so bad.
Yeah, a lot of points. Horns down.
Horns up.
Oh.
This is going to be the first time I'll ever do this, and probably the only time I'll ever do this, because with how people have rated OU, it's because they thought Spencer Rattler was going to come in and be just like Jalen Hurts, just like Kyler Murray, just like Baker
at one
Mayfield.
point he was considered the favorite to win the Heisman before the season.
But here's the thing. All those guys came in with more experience in different places. Spencer Rattler is just coming in with high school hype, and guess what? Those guys still have to have time to translate.
And as Tom mentioned yesterday, those guys also had CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown. They had first-round talented wide receivers. Spencer Rattler doesn't have that right now.
The only guy who had the most experience was Kennedy Brooks, and he's not playing because of COVID. The only other guy that I can truly know of experience, he's on the offensive line, that's Creed Humphrey. Besides that, it's a lot of new, fresh faces trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Sam Ehlinger has experience. Spencer Rattler doesn't. Both defenses are terrible. I'm going to take the guy with more experience than Sam Ehlinger.
But I'll also point out, we also forget this X factor. Has Mike Yurcich ever beaten OU as an offensive coordinator?
Ooh.
And that's the thing with OU is I'm not ready to go at the quarterback and say, oh my gosh, they've been exposed that they can't do anything.
And I will say he once, but that's because Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. But I'm not ready to say, oh, they don't have a transfer quarterback, so they're not going to be able to do anything. I'm not at that point yet because Spencer Rattler is good, but this defense has just let them down.
Plus, my other thought about this is, yes, for OU, their shot at the national titles on the line. On Texas, Tom Herman's job is on the line.
Yeah.
Because at this point with Tom Herman, last season what happened was the whole supporting crew, a lot of his coordinators, they got scapegoated out and they got tossed out. This year, if Tom Herman doesn't succeed, he's going out.
Yeah. Here's the other thing you got to keep in mind. You look at these two teams and who they've played. OU, what's the record of the two teams that they lost to in the Big 12 play? Combined 4-0. Iowa State and Kansas State.
Yeah.
Texas, what's the combined record of the teams that they've beaten and almost, or that they've lost to and almost lost to in the Big 12? 1-3.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Texas, you barely beat an 0-2 Texas Tech team, and you lost to now a 1-1 TCU team. The hype's not there for me for them either. So I mean, and I think that's why it's not a slam dunk either way.
No, it's not.
But it is one of these Red River Rivalry games you're looking at and you're saying, man, coming into the season there's a lot of hype. There's a hype now, but it's more of a can Texas avoid having both of the flagship programs of the Big 12 already be out of any type of talk, even maybe for a Big 12 title game 3 weeks into the season?
Yeah, whenever we look at these Red River Rivalry games, we always think, this game always has a lot of major repercussions because it's going to tell who's going to be on top of the Big 12 and who's going to be everybody's little flagship guy. This is different repercussions. This, to me, might have the biggest outcomes of any Red River Rivalry game in a long time, because this could change the face of both of these programs in a long time. It could send Texas in a completely spiraling direction, the same with OU. So this, to me, is one of the more important ones over the past couple of years.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a battle offensively, more so than defensively, that's for sure.
Welcome to the Big 12.
Yep. All right, let's get a couple more picks out of the way. Back to the NFL. Eagles-Steelers. The Eagles squeaked one out against C.J. Beathard for the Niners on Sunday night. They literally, Nick Mullins is just a disaster, and they had to bring in C.J. Beathard. But we saw the resurgence of George Kittle. That dude went crazy. 15 catches at tight end.
Well, also because that's the only guy
it really
to throw
is.
to in that offense.
But just the fact, it's crazy. When you watch him catch the ball and run with it, he is next level, man.
Well, you think about it, with both Mullins and Beathard, he was always the number one. There was never...
It's true.
There was even with
Jimmy G, too. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if there was anybody else in the playbook, it was always going to George Kittle. That's how he broke out, was because of those two guys. Then Jimmy G comes in and bam, it's just the perfect mashup. So yeah, George Kittle is just amazing.
He's awesome. So Eagles, Steelers, Carson Wentz. There were times where he was starting to run the ball a little bit more that game, where you were like, okay, he still has that athletic ability, but throwing it, he still had his struggles.
Yeah.
I know the offensive line is terrible,
and
but still.
This is a top 5 Pittsburgh defense.
It is.
I mean, that secondary is, especially when, speaking of only a tight end to really throw to, that's essentially what Philadelphia has as well.
And Zach Ertz has been nothing of a former self this year.
Right.
I mean,
and is Goddard out for the season?
He's IR, yeah.
But for the season?
I think, I want to say he's for the season. I
think
have to remember what the injury was, but I think it was for the season. So
put some
it's important because he was on the verge of being a top 5 guy, like I had predicted preseason.
Hey, put some respect on my man Greg Ward. He's trying his best out there.
He's doing what he can.
He's trying his best.
The loss of Jalen Reagor is obviously a big blow.
Yeah.
But it's Carson Wentz who's been put in this tough situation, and he's at this moment with what he's given. I still think he's a great quarterback, but doesn't have the weapons to bail him out.
Yeah, because you don't have the wide receivers. You now have an aging tight end, And let's be honest, Miles Sanders, he had one good game so far this year, but he hasn't been as he hasn't made that leap like everyone thought that he would from a year ago.
I think he's close, but
but right now, like again, going back to a rookie that we talked about earlier, I'd take Jonathan Taylor right now over Miles Sanders in a heartbeat.
It's fair. I think I'd be there with you.
Yeah.
So I think we're all going Steelers here with Big Ben coming back, who was obviously, by the way, the whole team is ticked off that they had to miss a week, as we know.
Big Ben, 777 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, sounds about right, because he's going to be like, let me make up for last week and then throw it on. Yeah, I like that. Rams at the Washington football team. I don't know if you guys heard, but this week, my analogy for the Rams, what I compared them to, was your ex-girlfriend. And what I meant by that was back when in L.A., when they first came in, back when they got Jared Goff and they got Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks and Todd Gurley and Sean McVay. And then you had the defense. And it all looked really, really good, and it was fun. It was exciting. It was new.
Celebrities won. Yeah. They that big Monday night game against the Chiefs.
Yes.
It was
crazy
standing
scoring.
room only type of outing.
It was electric. But what we've seen since Todd Gurley not only has left, but now since the Super Bowl appearance, it's kind of sputtered out and got stale and got boring, which reminded me of past relationships, right? It starts fun at first, and then...
So you're saying maybe Jared Goff's not the quarterback of the future that everyone thought he was going to be?
Jared Goff, when he came in, he got all of us like, wow.
No, I never bought him.
Buy into it?
Oh, I never bought into him.
I did, because there were throws that he made that were big time, and not a lot of quarterbacks were making those throws. Now, he had a ton of weapons, but he got me, and I was like, that's going to be the dude. But last year... And coming into this year, which they're still a good team, really good team, but they're just running the ball all the time now. They don't even have to throw it.
Yeah, for me, whenever I saw Jared Goff, I was like, wow, this kid looks good. But you also got to think about who all they had, and at that time, it was one of their best offensive lines, and now all of them are gone.
They had to spend money on Goff and everybody else.
And
spent too much money on Goff.
And don't forget Todd Gurley, who took up a good chunk of change then. Arthritis.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp just got paid, and I think he's still the best player on that team offensively. But they've done a good job of being able to, even with those weapons, they know we can just run down people's throats, and it hasn't been stopped so far. The defense is just good enough to get the ball back to us and allow us to do that.
See, this is the game that you said the Jacksonville-Houston game was your ugly one that you didn't want to watch. This is it for me. Because I don't want to watch Kyle Allen play quarterback. Yeah. I don't want to watch Jared Goff play quarterback.
I do.
At least with Deshaun Watson and with Minshew, they might have some moments. But neither of these quarterbacks say, man, I want to tune in and watch them for 3 hours.
The only thing I want to see is it possible for Aaron Donald to get double-digit sacks? I want to see it. Please let me have it.
It's a tougher matchup defensively here. I mean, for, let's say, the Rams offensively coming in against this Washington defense, it's going to be tougher.
Yeah.
But I think they still find a way to get a win. You can't throw Kyle Allen in and expect him to come in with a victory.
And that's why part of me, the only significance of this game is I want to see Kyle Allen do so poorly that they say, you know what, let's try Alex Smith.
We have to go with
now
Alex
that he's
Smith.
Officially the backup.
Can you imagine being Dwayne Haskins coming in and being so bad that you're not just backup, you're behind Alex Smith.
You were benched all the way to third. You were benched to the practice squad.
Alex Smith basically had his leg blown up, and he's ahead of you, dude. You are bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we all got Rams going here.
Yeah, well, also the Washington football team has been dealing with injury issues on that defensive side.
Yeah.
And I think
that was
because
really hope, right?
Yeah, they said anything about, is Chase Young going to be back this week, or is he still out?
I have to double check on that.
Yeah, I'm double checking on. That's what I've been. He's returned to practice. He's questionable for the game.
He's still questionable. Yeah, okay.
And then if I remember right, Matt Ioannidis, who's been one of their big D tackles, I don't know if he's out on the top of my head. That's what I'll also have to check out.
You gonna be able to spell that?
No. But that's why he's the fourth search, and I pressed the wrong one because fingers. Yeah.
There you go. We all got the Rams. We come back, give you the rest of our picks, give you some gambling tips, how to win some money this weekend. All coming up on the Afternoon Sports Drive.
I don't wanna wait for our life to be over. You haven't, but you take it how you left it. This is give and take. Take your side, take me under. I wanna know, but you show me what I'm missing.
Welcome back, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network.
Running in the streets, I think.
Patrick Wheeler, Jason Elmquist, Levi Peckinpah finishing up our NFL Week 5 picks. We got the Dolphins and the 49ers. Dolphins, look, they
Okay, we both might need to rethink which game we don't want to watch.
This is
because this might actually
it's kind of tough.
Oh.
But they did hold their own for the most part against the Seahawks. I mean, but the Seahawks defense is really bad. But the question again is how much does Fitzmagic have left in the tank here?
9-point favorite is the Niners.
Really?
Yep.
And that's is Jimmy G back yet or no? And that's what I need to double check.
I haven't seen any reports on him yet.
I want to say that this was the week they were going to target, but we saw last week, obviously, as we mentioned, with Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard, it was a kind of a disaster.
I just love for how every game it's going back. We have an idea of what could happen, but let's check real quick. And from what it says, Jimmy G is to start this Sunday.
He is back. That's what I thought, and that
still
helps.
ineffective.
Yeah, he won't. He won't be. We're comparing him to C.J. Beathard.
Yeah.
It's going to look good, but everyone else, But George Kittle's back, as we said. He went ham.
Buy or sell the better quarterback in this one.
Jimmy G or Fitz.
Wait, it depends on what kind of Fitz we get. Are we going to get the one that steals? I'm trying to remember who's Jack.
We don't know. We don't
never
know. We don't know what Fitzmagic will show up.
Give me Fitz. Give me Fitzmagic.
Exactly.
I think that he has the better chance of being really good in this game.
Yeah.
I could see that. For this game overall, though, because Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle are going to be back, give me San Fran all day.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. If they were both out, I might be trying to go lean in different. But
if there was any type of skill position player worth anything on the Miami team, I might consider them. But they don't have anything half the value of George Kittle.
Yeah, they have a couple good guys. They do have Devontae Parker. They do have Preston Williams, Mike Gesicki on the offensive end. On the defensive end, they do have Byron Jones.
Preston Williams has disappointed this year, though. So
well, he's coming off a torn ACL.
I know, but still, I mean, with that Dolphins team,
he's not Tylan Wallace.
It's not hard to stand
out.
Levi, remember when the Cowboys played Seattle? No, I do. No. Didn't everyone put up good points against Seattle's defense in that game?
Yes.
Exactly. So hold your horses on Preston Williams suddenly being the best wide receiver suddenly in the league.
Say that.
I know, but 20 points against Seattle's defense. I mean, honestly,
didn't even get to say what I was going to say.
The three of us could have put up 20 points against that Seattle defense.
I like how I didn't even get to finish my point, and you're just like, oh, but Dallas. I was going to say,
what's the point?
I was going to say they have good guys. I'm not saying Preston Williams is all that in a bag of chips. Preston Williams is a guy who's going to be upcoming. He'll be better in like a couple years.
We've been saying that about every Dolphins skill position player for the past 20 years.
That's literally been Devontae Parker's storyline for like 17,000 years. But I actually believe in Preston Williams. The problem is each one of those skill position guys, if you put them all together, they still don't have as much value as George Kittle.
No.
It's San Fran all day.
Yeah, it should be an easy one for them. Giants-Cowboys. And I said that coming into this week, I've said it all week, Levi might just leave. Yeah, I said that the Giants, if they win, it's like doomsday time in Dallas because you're 1-3 already. If the Giants found a way with no Saquon Barkley, Levi, it's yikes.
Go ahead, do all the mocking.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You know what Vegas thinks about this game?
I know it's like Dallas by like 7.5 or 9.5.
It started at 11.
Which is way too high.
Vegas does not believe in your Dallas Cowboys either.
Neither do I.
But you're still going to pick them.
Yes, I am.
What's the line now?
It's at least on this, Vegas Insiders has it at 8.5.
I'll give my 2 cents about this, and then you guys can get your mock on real quick.
The funny thing, though, is even though Giants are, again, we've talked about it, their offense is pretty atrocious. The over-under has jumped, and I'm mean jumped. Open the week at 44 is over-under. It is now at 54.
Even they think that the Giants can score on Dallas.
Yeah.
Or they think that Dallas can put up 45 points.
To my point from last Sunday, Nathan Peterman can score 40 points on this defense. So, yeah, I think the Giants defense or the Giants offense with whatever they try to throw, Daniel Jones tried to throw to, could still put up 40 points.
Let me jump on my soapbox real quick, then you guys can mock me after. Is that okay? Is that okay for everybody?
Deal.
Okay, cool. For this Cowboys offense and defense, you're having to have Dak Prescott throw for upwards 400, 500 yards because the defense is so awful. The problem is now with Tyron Smith out for the rest of the year and the majority of that offensive line out for the rest of the year, you're having him run like he's Russell Wilson now. So now you have a defense that scheme-wise, terrible. Players that are left, terrible. Effort giving, terrible. It's an overall bad trio of a combo over there for that defense. And now you're having to make Dak Prescott, who I will say, going into this year, I thought was an above-average quarterback, play at an elite level, at least his elite level, and play like it's Madden 21 on rookie mode. He's having to go out there and do incredible things. And that's why a lot of people are also getting upset why you're not seeing Zeke numbers.
I'm glad you brought up a video game reference real quick, because this entire Dallas Cowboys team now feels like NFL Street. Mm-hmm. Where there's no linemen, your offensive guys are playing on defense as well. Like that's what it feels like. The only talent right now in Dallas is your wide receivers, your running back, and your quarterback, and that's literally NFL Street.
Yeah, and the problem is for the Cowboys, for this New York Giants. One thing I will say, New York Giants not good. Defensive line for New York Giants, actually pretty good. You have Leonard Williams, who is not the good part, but you do still have Dexter Lawrence. You have Dalvin Tomlinson. If that offensive line can't get anything blocking, then this is going to look like the prime time of seeing Russell Wilson running around for his life, except now you got Dak Prescott doing it.
I want to say this real quick because we got to get our rest of our picks, but with the Cowboys, I think this is now Dak's time to show that he can be great. Now, I say that because when he came in the league, he inherited a pretty good situation, as we all know. Right now, it's with everything against him. We know he can throw for 450 yards, but can he get his team a win?
Here's my thing. You can be so great by yourself. The thing is, if you don't have anybody else that can back you up, it doesn't matter if one individual effort happens. If everyone else lets you down on the defensive end, Dak can throw for 3,000 yards.
There needs to be
losing.
some effort defensively.
I love chaos. And what's more chaotic than every team in the East having just one win?
No,
what's more chaotic than that? However, is Evan Ingram still a Giant?
He is still
Dallas
a Giant.
for the win.
Yeah, that'll always be the case.
I'm with you this week.
Yeah,
because Evan Ingram
we're all
is
going Cowboys,
still playing football.
Which, by the way, Levi, as of last, you weren't on the show with us, but I was this close to taking the Browns over the Cowboys. I should have done it. Man.
I did.
With a headache in my heart, just on my sleeve, I'm going to take Dallas, but if Dallas loses, expect Monday night on the O'Calley Sports Student Section, which is from 8 to 10 on the Triple Play Sports Radio, for me to have an epic rant, please tune in.
I'm surprised you're going to show up. I mean, I wouldn't show my face in anywhere if the Dallas Cowboys lost.
I expect you to wear all black.
Like
for a funeral, exactly.
Daniel Jones jersey.
Well, here's the thing: no matter how I show up, you guys are still going to mock me. Even if Dallas gets the win, you're going to be like, "Oh, you're
right.
2-3 in the worst division."
You already know that. Sunday night, Vikings Seahawks.
Seahawks by 1 million, please.
Yeah, the Seahawks shouldn't have a problem even with their terrible defense. And the Vikings won last week, but it was against the Texans.
As we ultimately found out, you always pick against Minnesota unless Bill O'Brien's the head coach. Mm-hmm. So, you can't pick Minnesota in this one.
Yeah.
Remember the soapbox that I got into the first couple weeks when I said Minnesota is a terrible team? You guys were like, no. And now I'm sitting here like...
No, we bought it last week, and regretfully...
No joke.
It's not my fault that the Houston Texans are worse.
No. Bill O'Brien's worse.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I don't know about that one. You're going to have to wait till this weekend.
Wait till what they do with the Jags. Broncos-Patriots Monday at 4 o'clock. Monday at 4 o'clock.
Is Cam Newton going to play?
We don't know yet.
Doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. You have to pick right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That is right.
You have to pick right now because if he doesn't, we're not going to let you.
You can't search for it or anything.
Yeah, we're not going to let you reverse it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to take Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots no matter what.
They have to come back after this with the Chiefs. And even if it's the Broncos. I mean, come on. They are so bad. The Jets were competitive against them, okay? Yeah. So the Patriots shouldn't have a problem if it's Cam by 1 million.
Yeah, no, it's in New England as well, though. Vegas not feeling comfortable with them right now. That opened the week at -10. It's down to 5.
Stop listening to Vegas.
They need to know if Cam's coming back.
I don't know. Vegas is pretty close. Scary sometimes because remember there was a couple weeks back where we joked, why does Vegas have it this close? and it was that close in a game. It was the Houston-Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Where we were like, how is this a close game? Why does Vegas have it close? And ultimately, it was only a touchdown game.
I'm telling all my bettors out there to just go by the line that Vegas always knows. Okay.
This is the one opportunity I will say it's going to be Patriots by like 2 touchdowns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Patriots are going to just go rock out here.
For Cam, absolutely, if he's there. If not, probably still at least one. 1 Monday night game and then a Tuesday night game. Monday night, Chargers Saints, pretty interesting here. If you look at what Justin Herbert, quarterback-wise, has had to go up against since he's been in the league. Patrick Mahomes.
And he's officially now the starter going forward.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, who they were up 17 on last week, and now Drew Brees. I mean, that's a nice little rookie intro there. But in New Orleans, Michael Thomas, crossing fingers, is supposed, I said this last week, but supposed to be back.
Yeah.
He's got an extra day to rest up, so I think he will be. And that's why I want to see, if the Saints still struggle with him out there and everybody else good to go, Kamara's still good to go, then I'm going to start losing more faith in the Saints here. But with the Bucs loss on last night, they got to come up and get this victory.
Well, and the fact that the Chargers gave up 37 to Tampa Bay is worrying for me.
17 unanswered.
Yeah, that because again, the Saints to me are a better offense, and obviously they proved that they've already beaten Tampa Bay. That's worrying because if this game was being played after the Chiefs and Chargers game, I would probably have picked the Chargers because of the way the defense played. But the fact that the defense just gave up 37 points, if Michael Thomas is back, Alvin Kamara is still a guy that is going to give you 30 points in fantasy football
easily.
I'm going with Saints in this, but I think it's going to be a close one as well.
Oh yeah, close game. Justin Herbert's going to go out here and have a really nice outing against the Saints defense, but I just think with how Alvin Kamara has just been showing out, even with Drew Brees and his noodle arm that's still questionable, I'm going Saints all the way.
Okay. Last one here. Hopefully, again, the Titans can keep testing negative. Bills and Titans Tuesday at 6 p.m. Josh Allen coming in against Ryan Tannehill on the road. Do we like Josh Allen? Do we like Ryan Tannehill here? Who we going with?
For my boy Jordan Bishop, it's the Bills.
I'm going to go off the rails here. Nobody wins. Because it doesn't get played.
Oh.
Don't say that. Don't say that now.
I haven't. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, look, the no fun.
I agree with you. It'd be the Bills that if it gets played, Josh Allen's going to continue his MVP run, but we again we're so far nothing today. Everything came back negative, which is positive, but we also had 2 days in the middle of this week and then suddenly a positive return. You're asking a lot for 3 more days and technically 4 more days because you have to get it positive Tuesday morning as well. I just don't see it. I mean, that is a super spreader kind of franchise right now. I mean, you've got more positives among the players than you do in the White House right now.
Herd immunity by week 5. Yeah.
You better not get any points if that happens.
What
if the game doesn't happen because
give them a point if it doesn't play?
Yeah.
Right. But you do say Bills if they do play.
No, well, yeah. But like I said, ultimately no one gets to win.
I'm going to count you for the Bills. I'm going to have to do it.
All right.
Bills.
But okay, but then I get an extra point if they don't get played. If the game doesn't get played.
You agree on that?
We'll agree on that.
Okay, we'll agree on that.
You're going to so get that extra point.
I hope not, man. The Titans, they need to come back and because they were undefeated coming into this, and I think I haven't picked against the Titans once this year, but Josh Allen is the rich man's Lamar Jackson. Okay, he is what Lamar Jackson is supposed to be. Okay, so I think he's going to come off and have a huge game. When we come back, we'll get into just a couple of gambling picks, give you some fantasy advice, and round out the show next. Welcome back, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network, rounding out here on a Friday. Patrick Wheeler and Jason Elmquist, Levi Peckinpah. Let's look at a couple of our gambling picks this weekend to get some people ready to make some money here in the NFL. As you said, the Falcons just a 1-point favorite over the Panthers. When you look at a 1 point, a lot of people like to jump on that pretty quickly. As I said, I like the Falcons in this game. Definitely to cover. The total of 53.5. I like the over on that, too. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored here against. We're finally going to see more of Carolina's suspect defense because we know, as I said, they've been better than expected. But This is a Falcons team that can score on them.
Or if you're like Levi and I, you're not expecting Atlanta to cover because you think Carolina's going to win.
Well, there you go. You guys, you like the Panthers in this one. All right. I want to know what you guys think about this one too. Again with the Chiefs, 11.5 right now, point favorites. What are we liking there?
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas City to cover on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely
Also
taking KC to cover.
Total 55.5.
Oh, and I'm taking that over.
Ooh.
I'm going to take that over. I think Oakland at least gets a couple of touchdowns. I'll give them 2.
Yeah.
But I think Patrick Mahomes going to sling it.
Yeah, I might take the under on that one because apparently John Gruden said today that Ruggs has shown improvement, but they're still uncertain if he'll play.
Okay.
And I think that will hurt that offense. Again, I know you still have Waller, but we also have to keep in mind when you're the Chiefs defense, you face a better tight end than that every single day in practice.
And
I'm just digging on you, man, all day long.
I know you are.
the Raiders haven't seen a tight end Travis Kelce quality yet this year on defense. So yeah, I mean it's going to be, but I do also like that too on the cover. The over I'll take. You said the under. What you boys got on gambling this week? What's your picks? You got one that you're hitting big time?
Ooh.
I got one for you. Do not take Dallas to cover. Take them to win, but not to cover 8.5.
I'm also with you on that.
I'm going to take in the Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia game. Take Pittsburgh to cover.
What is their line right now?
It's Pittsburgh by 7.
Oh yeah, I like to hit that too.
Oh yeah, hit that easy. And also, I'm actually going to hit. For what it has on here, it has the over-under at 44. I'm going to hit that because I think they're going to get right about 50.
All right. Also take Arizona Cardinals to cover against the Jets.
Yeah.
It's only at 7.
I would take them on the money line, too. I mean, that's automatic this week. So there's your betting, gambling picks. You can get that going and make some money. Fantasy real quick. I got to say, I like as I mentioned with Teddy Bridgewater, playing better than we thought. As I'm looking at his wide receivers right now against Atlanta, I think DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson has played really well.
Robbie Anderson's my wide receiver that you've got to get in there.
He's
in
a PPR
lineup.
monster this year too. He's going to be getting a lot of catches this week. Start those with confidence.
Give me both of the wide receivers for Seattle. Put Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in your lineups if you have it, because it's literally one guy is the guy who gets all your catches. Tyler Lockett's that guy. DK Metcalf is your long ball who will get the touchdowns.
If you've been stashing him on your bench for the first part of the season, get Kareem Hunt in the starting lineup this week.
He is
RB1 with Nick Chubb down, and again, that is a really bad defense they're going up against the run. You got to make sure that Hunt's in that lineup.
Loving also James Robinson against the Texans, especially with J.J. Watt.
Also another good one.
Like how he's been.
Yeah, Houston has given up a lot of yards on the ground this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a couple quarterbacks too. For instance, this week we have Aaron Rodgers on bye. So if you have to flex up a quarterback, I think that if you have Joe Burrow still available, he's a guy that's serviceable. I know it's against Baltimore, but I know he's been able to go for 300 yards consistently here. I like it.
Jared Goff against football team.
Oh, hey, throw Jared Goff in there against a football team. I think they might have to throw a little bit more in this game.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Daniel Jones, put him in.
Put him in.
Even though he's going to be trying to throw it 20 times Evan Ingram.
And going to get it like 2 times.
It's still the Dallas defense, which is the worst in the NFL.
Worst defense in the NFL, yeah.
Daniel Jones could put up, again, I said it on Sunday, Nathan Peterman can score 40 against this defense. Daniel Jones can.
Wow.
Put in Daniel Jones.
Jason actually just said to play
more.
Daniel Jones in fantasy football.
Yes.
He just
Yes.
I don't agree with that at all because, well, it's still the New York Giants offense, but I understand.
Didn't you just say that the defensive line for for your Dallas Cowboys weren't great, and obviously the secondary is not great, and okay, you would know because you've seen them all. What's the fewest points? The serious question now. What's the fewest points they've given up so far this year? And I know Giants haven't scored a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's been very high numbers.
I think it's been they've given up 30. I think in every single game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But also, it's Daniel Jones at quarterback who's proven absolutely. Wait, Tom. He's proven nothing.
It's the Dallas defense.
It is the Dallas defense, but it's also Daniel Jones that hasn't proven a lot. I will take the guy that I will say take a tight end because I think he's going to get a lot of catches. It is Evan Ingram. I'm not touching Daniel Jones.
Wait. So who's going to throw the ball to him? If you want Evan Ingram to play and to get a lot of fantasy points, who's going to throw the ball to him?
The guy who's also going to throw like 2 interceptions to 2 other people.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, you actually think Dallas has guys on the defense that can catch ball? That's a good one.
Against
Yes,
Daniel
that's a good one.
Jones.
Yeah.
They might be able to pull it off.
Even though it's your final, should I just leave? I said this twice now, but it's just jabs, man.
Yeah.
Hey, the lot's riding
But
on it.
honestly, I mean, with how bad that defense is, if
It's worth the risk it takes.
because you have to keep in mind, Daniel Jones is likely in the you can pull him off of free agency.
If you're running into problems, it's worth
if
it.
ever there were a flyer, Daniel Jones or anyone right at this point, except me. Okay, I will say this: if it was Sam Darnold, probably don't touch that because there's no talent around there.
And here's the thing with the Arizona Cardinals, that defense is actually a lot better than last season.
Yeah.
So I'm not touching Sam Darnold. But
Yeah.
all jokes aside,
no, I'm just saying if it was Sam Darnold against the Dallas defense, I might say don't touch that. But
yeah.
any quarterback flyer at this point against
It's
Dallas,
Joe Flacco time anyways with the Jets. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that is
there you
also
go.
true.
Yeah.
That's also true.
Well, before we get out of here, Jason, you wanna let everyone know what's going on?
Yeah, this may come off kind of corny. I typed up a little statement just because I wanted to make sure that I got everything that I wanted to talk about in. But so kind of bear with me here. For the better part of the past 7 years, Triple Play Sports Radio, and more importantly, you, the listeners, have allowed me to talk about a passion I've had since childhood. First, it was as the regular Tuesday guest for 3 or 4 years. In the past 3 years, many of you have tuned in every afternoon, Monday through Friday, for 2 hours of your day to listen to me as co-host of this show. You've allowed me to share my opinion, of which many times most of you wholeheartedly disagreed with, and we all shared in breaking news moments on air, none more importantly than we here on the Afternoon Sports Drive were the first show at Triple Play Sports Radio to inform the OSU fan base that beloved coach Eddie Sutton had finally been inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. But sadly, the time we have shared has come to an end. This was my last show as co-host of the Afternoon Sports Drive. This was a difficult decision, but was one made by myself along with my amazing wife, Amy, who has been so supportive of my decision from a career standpoint over the years, and my bosses over at the Stillwater News Press. The reason for my departure is to expand my role at the newspaper. I will continue to cover Oklahoma State athletics, but I will also begin getting more involved with the news side of the community I've called home for the past 10 years. The end goal for this move is to hopefully one day become the managing editor at the News Press, where I can continue to serve the Stillwater community in a greater role. But for now, I will still be around. If you miss my OSU football breakdowns, I will be finishing out the remainder of this season with Patrick on the Orange Nation Tailgate Show that airs 5 hours before every Oklahoma State football game. And once I get a better feel for what new tasks await me at the newspaper, I hope to make guest appearances with Patrick and perhaps even other shows throughout the day to provide Oklahoma State athletics insight on football, and hopefully later this winter as the guy for Cowboy Wrestling, as Robert Allen so graciously refers to me as. To all the listeners, so much of which I know span the country and even the globe, thanks to the Triple Play Sports app, I want to say thank you for making this such an enjoyable experience, especially those who called in to argue with me, or more enjoyable for me when you called in and wanted to argue with Tom. To Jordan Woodruff, my first partner in the afternoon, Zach Lancaster, my first co-host, and most recently, Jordan King and Patrick Wheeler. Thank you for working with my sometimes chaotic work schedule, allowing me to show up late to the show after an OSU media availability, or to call in while driving through DFW traffic on my way to cover Oklahoma State football. I also want to thank the long list of guests we've had over the years, including regulars like Tom Dorado, Jeff Hopper, Jordan Bishop, and most recently, Levi Peckinpah. To everybody who has made the past 7 years of talking sports and radio in Stillwater, Oklahoma, thank you.
There you go. Awesome stuff, Jason. Of course, obviously, I mean, it's been fun with you and I.
Yeah.
I mean, we jumped in as getting in and immediately connecting with the Chiefs, always connecting with hating on the Cowboys, always a good time, right? We enjoy that too. So I think we've had a lot of fun. We've gotten into it a few times too. It's been some good stuff. So I appreciate you coming on and kind of pushing me into this and getting me going started here too. So it's a big thanks for me, and I'm sure everybody here too. We know appreciate all the work that you've done here.
I will see you all around, listeners, and you guys here in the studio. Like I said, hopefully once things get a little more ironed out, I can hop in here and there as little guest segments. But otherwise, good luck. Best of luck starting Monday.
Yeah, and we'll see you on Saturdays too. As you mentioned.
Again, we'll still be doing the Saturday shows. Obviously, nothing tomorrow, but knock on wood, next Saturday you'll hear me back here on Triple Play Sports Radio.
There you go. That's been the Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah, and for the last time there, Jason Elmquist saying his goodbyes. Of course, we appreciate everything that he's done. Coming up next is the high school preview show, and then we have Perry Maroon football. You can tune in on 105.1 and listen to it tonight in about a couple of hours. Thanks for everybody listening. Have a great weekend.